हाय फ्रेंड्स, दिस इज हरताज फ्रॉम न्यू कारिस अकेडमी और आपके लिए एक बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग वीडियो लेके आया हूँ रिलेटेड टू द प्रेजेंट जियोपॉलिटिकल टेंशंस जो इंडिया, कनाडा और यूएस में चल रहा है। क्या है ये पॉलिटिकल इशू, क्या जियोपॉलिटिक्स चल रहा है और इसका बेस और क्रक्स कहाँ से स्टार्ट होता है। लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड इट। वील ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड बोथ द पर्सपेक्टिव। इंडिया का पर्सपेक्टिव क्या है, ये वेस्टर्न वर्ल्ड का पर्सपेक्टिव क्या है और किस चीज के पीछे ये इशू है। So without wasting much time, let's start with it. What is this issue? 2023 से बात करें, ये issue start हुआ, escalate. When the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau had come to India for the G20, he gave the release saying that India was responsible for killing a Khalistani terrorist who was a Canadian citizen going by the name Ninja when he had just gone outside the Gurdwara. He was sitting in his car and he was killed by two unnamed persons, which the authorities have not been able to pinpoint. Well, India retaliated saying that, sorry, India has no part to play in it. Right, everybody. Now, this is related to the present day controversy related to India, Canada and US. क्या controversy है? Recently, Canada ने India के 6 diplomats को expel किया. उससे पहले India ने 6 diplomats Canadian expel किए. क्या reason रहा? जो Justin Trudeau है, he had issued a statement saying that the Indian embassy was involved in killing of Nijjar. Who is Nijjar? He's a Canadian citizen who is a Khalistani sympathizer and is generally supporting the Khalistan force. Now let's talk about the chronological order of the entire process. सबसे पहले हम बात करते हैं certain killings of Khalistani leaders all across the world, and then we are going to explain you this. The first person, if you've not heard about it, I like to correlate and which nobody is telling you about is Paramjeet Singh Pannun. He's a Khalistani leader who was staying in Pakistan, who was killed in 2023. Coming to the second person, who's a Canadian citizen, Nijjar, was killed. Just he got outside the Gurdwara, he was sitting in his car and was killed by generally nobody knows which assailants. Coming to the third person, Pannu, another sympathizer who is a US citizen. And now, this is where the US comes into play. Now, as we know, US has the best spy system. और US का spy system के लिए थोड़ा सा पीछे जाते हैं 2007 में, जहाँ पे हमें US का spy system के बारे पता लगा. कौन था वो आदमी? एडवर्ड स्नोडन. Where it talked about a PRISM program. What was this PRISM program? Basically, after 9/11, US started snooping everybody on the internet. It started using its satellites, it started using technology to see what other countries are doing, and in which India was also involved. India was heavily snooped by US. So even now, if we talk about it, India did not give much reaction to it, but it is very clear that US is still snooping. So what is the trail that US made that is very important? The first person in our name is Vikas Yadav. Who's Vikas Yadav? He's basically a raw operative, and he was recruited as a CAPF assistant commandant, who is now a raw agent, formerly a raw agent, as stated by the Indian government. The US said that he had employed a person named Mr. Gupta, and Mr. Gupta was then to hire a person to kill Mr. Pannu. The person that Mr. Gupta had hired was basically an undercover agent of the US Agency of Drugs. He provided this intel to his superiors, saying that $1 lakh have been offered to him, and 15,000 would be given as cash early and 85,000 after the job is done. Now, this information was shared with all the other 5 countries. Which 5 countries? These are the Five Eyes countries. What is Five Eyes? It is basically 5 countries. कौन सी 5 countries हैं? US, you have UK, you have Canada, you have Australia, you have New Zealand. These 5 countries have a pact in which they share intel or intelligence, जिसको बात कर रहे थे. That is how this information goes to Canada. Canada stages this issue in 2023. Slight bit heated arguments happen between India and Canada. Things sort out. Now coming to the elections in Canada, of course, Justin Trudeau is under pressure because his popularity is not so much. So he's now pushing forward for in which ways that he can push forward his machoism and popularity, which I personally agree is absolutely correct as the Prime Minister of Canada, a sovereign state, where he's talking about it. What is US reaction to us? US on the Five Eyes have supported Canada in this because the intelligence is there. What is India's reaction to it? India says this person, Vikas Yadav, is a former agent of ours, but is no longer working with us. So now what happens is Mr. Gupta and Mr. Yadav have been recently named in indictment charges in the New York court, because Mr. Pannu is a citizen of US staying in New York, so there have been charges against these people in the New York court. Well, Mr. Gupta's role was a middleman. It was offered to him that there are certain cases against him in India will be taken care of if he's able to get this planned killing. Well, it's a perfect plot for a story. How the RAW and the other spy agencies work. That's exactly what is happening. What will be the outcome of this? Well, it's very clear. US needs India, India needs US, Canada needs India because the Canadians, a lot of Indian students are going to Canada, a lot of money is coming there. Similarly, Canada requires India in terms of trade and everything. So what is going to be the outcome of this? Not much. It's just going to be iterant or a problem related to it, but this is going to settle down very soon. But what we need to understand is there are certain questions which have really now being raised. Does India really command that much of clout, global clout, where it can send its agents to friendly countries and get work done, which we saw the Western world still doesn't accept? The Western world is still doing the same with India. 2017, as I said, 2007, you had Edward Snowden telling very clearly that India was spied upon, and even is probably. But here the Western diplomacy comes into place, or the Western supremacy comes into place, where they have said that, oh, we are a country which is very much sovereign, so you cannot interfere in our affairs. On the other side, India has been providing a lot of information related to these terrorists, but none such action has been taken. If we talk about UK, we saw in the Indian High Commissioner the Indian flag being brought down, which is again a disrespect, but then again, the Western world has not alighted much. Well, this is the entire geopolitical scenario for you related to this topic. I hope I've been able to clear your doubts. What are your views and opinions about it? Please mention below in the comment. And I'm pretty sure you'll find this video really informative. This is Hartaj signing off.